Today we're going to look at a piece from the book called Piano Adventures by Nancy and Randall Faber. And we're looking at the lesson book 2B. We also will be looking at two other books from this series, Piano Adventures, which is Theory Book 2B and also Technique and Artistry Book 2B. So I'll just leave these two books on the side, and we're going to start first with the theory book. Actually, we'll start with the lesson book. Sorry about that. So we'll start with the lesson book. The piece that we're looking at today is on page 15. It's called the Boxcar Rumble. So I'm going to start out by giving a demonstration of the piece, and after that, we will talk about how to approach practicing and learning this piece for performance. So here we go. Alright, so let's talk about the Boxcar Rumble. So this piece is an exercise in sixths. Quick review of what sixths are. So if we're looking at the keyboard here, we use the terminology of intervals to describe a distance between two keys. So a very natural distance, since we have 5 fingers, is the interval of a fifth. So if I'm playing G and D, it's an interval of a fifth. And a quick review, here's why. It covers 5 keys, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and also it covers 5 letter names. G, be sure to include the first and the last letters. G, A, B, C, D, 5 letter names. That's a fifth. But, as I just said, this piece not only uses fifths, it actually uses sixths as well. So if you want to take your fifth and turn it into a sixth, you're going to have to make it wider by 1 key. G to E, sixth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. G to D, fifth. So sixth, fifth. Can you see the difference there? So let's take a look over in now the theory book and the technique and artistry book. Okay, so I'm in the technique and artistry book, opening up to page 10 here, which gives you a nice exercise to practice sixths. So if you open up to page 10, you're going to see 2 little short exercises here. First one is called pigeon walk, and the second one is called rollerblading. So pigeon walk goes like this. I'm just going to demonstrate and then I'll explain. Okay, it went by pretty quick, but there is one underlying pattern behind this exercise, behind the pigeon walk. And here's the pattern. You play your first note, in this case it's E. The note is 6 above, which is C. And then play them together. We're going to do the same pattern starting on F to D. Okay, if we start on G, what note's going to be the 6th note, including G? Do you know the answer? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's E. On A, goes up to F, and so on. You can also do this exercise with the left hand. We'll start with the thumb on C. Okay, remember, a fifth from C, a fifth below C would be F. Again, fifth, think 5 fingers, but we want a sixth, so it's going to be 1 even lower. It's going to be E. C, E, E, C, E, Okay, let's go down with the thumb on B. Pinky will land on D. And so on. And so in this way you get your hands used to traveling on 6. You can also try the next one, number 2, rollerblading. This is still on page 10 of the Technique and Artistry book. And in this exercise, we're adding a bit of ornamentation to our previous exercise, and it sounds like this. Okay, so let's take a little quick look at this one. So again, we're starting with the thumb on E, just like we had started on Pigeon Walk, number 1. And your pinky is on C. Now compare Pigeon Walk and rollerblading. In rollerblading, we're actually filling in the 6th with G, A, B. So E, G, A, B, C, C. Do you see how we're filling in these notes? Again, since we only have 5 fingers, we're skipping one note, which is the F, the second key in the pattern. On F, skipping past one key, going to A. So these 2 exercises are a great warm-up for our boxcar rumble piece. So I recommend doing these exercises in the Technique and Artistry book probably about 5 to 10 times for each exercise until you get very comfortable with jumping around and finding 6 on the piano. Another great thing is to quiz yourself and make sure that you really understand your 6 and just pick a random note and see if you can build a 6. So let's say that I give you the note A. You should be able to quickly find F as your interval of a 6. So you want to kind of jump around and quiz yourself to make sure that you really know your 6th. After, of course, you do the exercise, because the exercise will proceed in a stepwise order. This one. Okay, so that will help you warm up using the Technique and Artistry book. And after that, you can go back and practice your boxcar rumble. So we're going back to page 15 of the lesson book piece to look at the boxcar rumble. And it says here, technique check, play each hand alone as a warm-up. Is your wrist flexible and relaxed? So assuming that you have never played this piece before and you're just starting to learn it, it's a good idea to just play one hand at a time and understand what's really going on in terms of the intervals for each hand. So here we can start out with the bass clef part. We'll just look at the first bar. So we have G and D, and we have G and E. So what do you know? We're going 5th, and we're playing a 6th. I'm playing a 5th, and playing a 6th. Now it says here, is your wrist flexible and relaxed? Well, we do have some marks here underneath your notes, these dots right here. These are staccato marks. And in order to play a staccato articulation, which is a sort of light bounce articulation, then your wrist is going to have to be very flexible, like so. So if you look at the wrist, it should be bouncing up and down, it should have a little bit of motion to it. In contrast, if you are not relaxed, what will happen is your muscles will tense up and you'll get a heavier sound, and also you'll strain your hand. So that's what we don't want to see. We want to avoid that. So keep that wrist flexible and relaxed. Again, first 2 bars, we have 5th and a 6th, and 5th and 6th. So this pattern is continuing through bar 3, and now through bar 4 in the left hand, and bar 5. And then we get a little rest there. 8 beats long. Now we're on bar 7. Continuing our alternating 5th and 6th, 5th and 6th, bar 9, 5th, 6th, 5th, 6th, bar 10. And then last bar, shift down to low G. Alright, so you feel pretty good about your 5ths and 6ths. Let's take a quick look at the theory book and spot fifths and sixths in the sheet music here. So now we're going over to the Theory Level 2B book, tuning into pages 6 and 7. So here we have some exercises that are written. So rather than performance exercises, we're actually writing in some of the notes here. So if you look at page 6, we have some visuals of a keyboard. And your job is to just shade the key. That's a sixth higher or a sixth lower, depending on what it says here. So for example, here we have an X marked on the key G. So visually we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The sixth note is going to be E. See that? So then you'll mark that there. And this is a great exercise, again, to get used to the visual pattern of how the sixths look on the piano. Over in number 2, you're spotting sixths now in the sheet music. So number 1 is an exercise in spotting sixths on the piano. Number 2 is spotting what the sixths look like when you're looking at a 5-line staff of music. So it notes here that when you have a sixth, you'll have a line note 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, ending on a space note. So whenever there's a sixth, it's going to be a line note and a space note, or vice versa, a space note and a line note. So let's go over to the next page, page 7. And here, you're going to play a game of spotting the sixths. This game involves a lot of different intervals, but what you want to do is just circle the sixth in the music. So after you complete that and get familiar with spotting those sixths, you're going to have a lot easier time finding the sixths in your piece, in your performance piece.
What is that?
Oh, so we're moving on from the boxcar rumble. We'll have a little treat for you today from the performance book 2B. Over onto page 6 and 7, Pagoda in the Purple Mist. So I'll go ahead and play this piece, and then we'll talk a little bit about it and wrap things up.
May I just make a comment?
Yes.
It is necessary for the user to purchase these books. It's not intended, your lessons are not intended to be self-contained, but work rather in conjunction with the books.
Yes.
So your teacher is expecting you to have your book available because you can't read it on the screen, but you can open it to the appropriate pages and then follow the lesson in much better.
Yes.
So you need to buy the books.
Yes. As always, when I'm showing these books, it's just to direct you to the page of the book that you're going to have in your own house. And you definitely want to purchase these books because you're going to be using your pencil, you're going to be highlighting things, circling things. It's always good to have hard copies in your house, and you can find these at any bookstore. They're one of the most popular series, so they're available at any bookstore or online. They're very easy to purchase. All right, so now let's go back to our Pagoda in the Purple Mist and take a look at that. Alright, wow, what a lovely piece. That was really fun. And you get to hold the pedal down for the whole piece, which is always a really cool effect. The right pedal is the same pedal. So just taking a quick look at this piece, I'm not going to talk about it too long, but it does pull together all the things that we were talking about so far. So there's intervals of sixths and intervals of fifths in this piece. Let's take a look at the third line, so that's bar 9, bars 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so I want you to take a look at bars 9, 10, 11, and 12, and before you're even playing the piece, try to ask yourself, where are the intervals of a sixth? Where are the intervals of a fifth? Can you find them? Let's look at bar 9. Bar 9, so we've got G and E in the left hand and G and E in the right hand. Okay, just visually looking at the piano here, you see that my fingers are skipping past 1. So G, A, B, C, D, E, sixth, right? Okay, how about in bar 10? We have G and D. Fits right into the 5 fingers of the hand. That's going to be a fifth. Bar 11, sixth. And bar 12. See, so by this point, having practiced from all those other books, it's going to be so much easier for you to distinguish between fifth and sixth, fifth and sixth. So that kind of thing, you should just be practicing until you don't even have to think about it. Because our goal when we're playing piano is to play. It's not to just think, right? It's to play. So when you're playing the Pagoda and the Purple Mist, you want to just prepare yourself by finding those fifths and sixths and just marking them up, just like the student did here. Marking all those places where your hand's going to have to shift and your fingers are going to move and change positions. So in this case, changing from fifth to sixth, you're extending your finger and then bring it back in for the fifth. So again, on the second page, if you look at the last line, more fifths and sixths over here for you to be paying attention and be mindful of. All right. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this lesson on fifths and sixths. Again, don't forget to get these books from your bookstore or from online. They were the Piano Adventures series. We're looking at the books from 2B. There's performance book, lesson book, theory book, sight reading book, which I didn't look at today, and the technique and artistry book. All these books are really great and they all work together. And there's even a place in the beginning of the books, in the beginning of the lesson book, that shows how they all connect, which I can show you later. So happy practicing and enjoy your music making, and I'll see you next time. Bye.